Hello, John Norrell here from JNorrell Creations. So glad that you found my video. Today we're going to be making a butterfly grapevine wreath. Any of the products that you see featured in today's video, you can purchase them by going to shoplikejohn.com. Again, that's www.shoplikejohn.com. There are many things you could do with this butterfly wreath. Today we're going to be using it as it is. We'll be placing a bow and some florals here in the center. You could also attach this to a round or oval grapevine wreath and make it even a bigger project, more florals and so forth. Or you could attach this butterfly to a large mesh wreath. I think that would be really beautiful. Okay, time to grab some ribbons. I'm going to be grabbing an aqua that has a glittered edge, yellow buffalo check, a pink Swiss dot, a beautiful floral with some butterflies, a pink argyle, and then a pink and yellow, a pink and white with the white being kind of like a fancy panty ribbon. And we may or may not use that, I'm not sure. We're going to be using my Easy Bow Maker, and you can purchase this from shoplikejohn.com and click on Deco Exchange. We're going to start with this beautiful floral, and I picked this because it has butterflies on it and we're making a butterfly wreath. And then the rest of my ribbons actually came based upon the colors here in this floral ribbon, as well as the pink buffalo check fabric that's in the actual wreath. All right, so I'm measuring my tails. I'm gonna do about a 6-inch tail. Pinch, twist, push it down in between those two pegs. That's gonna hold our ribbon while we're making our bow. This first layer is gonna be a 6-inch bow. Pinch, twist, push it down. The Easy Bow Maker has a ruler on either side, so you can easily make and measure loops up to 8 inches. And those pegs kind of act like a third set of, a third arm and hands. All right, we're gonna make our second 6-inch loop and then come down and cut our 6-inch tail. You wanna make sure those two are even, just cutting it straight across. All right, we're going to start on our second layer. I'm going to go in with the yellow and white buffalo check. I was thinking here that I would put the tail up, and then I decided, no, I'm going to leave the tail down. All right, going to put another 6-inch tail. Pinch, twist, push down. Going to do our first loop. And this loop we're going to come in about 1/2 inch. You want to stagger your loops. That's going to make a much more impressive bow. All right. Pinch, push down. We don't have to twist because we're not creating a third loop. Cut that tail at 6 inches. All right, come in with our third layer, the pink and white Swiss dot. Beautiful ribbon. Love the color. It's going to coordinate with our butterfly. And the Swiss dots, have a raised texture, so it's going to add some texture and dimension to our bow and just to our project overall. Again, push down, pinch, twist. Keep that center pushed down really tight. Again, coming in another 1/2 inch. And pinch, push down, and we're going to cut our second tail. If you like the project that we're making today, you can follow me on my Facebook page. And that's just www.facebook.com/JNorrell Creations.com. All right, putting in that 1.5 inch purple and white argyle ribbon. So we put 3 2.5 inch ribbons, and now we're coming in with our 1.5 inch ribbons. And your bow can be all 2.5 inch ribbon. You can make a bow with 1.5 inch ribbon. Sometimes I start bows with 4 inch ribbon. If you've never played with 4 inch ribbon, give it a try. It actually makes very beautiful bows. And what I was showing you there was just that I picked this aqua marine kind of color because that color is in that floral ribbon. The yellow and the purple and this aquamarine both came out of that floral ribbon in terms of why I chose it. All right. These are some amazing scissors. They're exclusive to Deco Exchange. So if you really like them, you can purchase them at www.shoplikejohn.com. Click on Deco Exchange, as well as those snips that we're going to use for the florals. Those also came from Deco Exchange. All right, we're pushing down that center. We're going to pull it up between the pegs, and you want to make sure you keep that center stack together. Don't let it separate. Push that stack down. You want to compress that stack as much as you can. All right, you're going to hold it there between your fingers. You're going to put that chenille stem up in between those two fingers. Come back around. Now we're going to make sure those two chenille stems are even. And then we're going to pull in one direction and push in the other direction. Or I'm sorry, actually pull in both directions. Twist it tight, but don't twist it so tight that you end up breaking your chenille stem. All right, we're going to move our grapevine wreath over. We're going to stick those two chenille stems in the actual grapevine wreath. That center grapevine actually has like little holes and stuff in between the branches, so you can easily stick the chenille stem down into the grapevine wreath. I'm just maneuvering all of my tails to get my tails in the same direction. All right, now we're going to actually attach the bow to the wreath. Some grapevines are really tightly round, so they make tools to help you get the chenille stems or the zip tie through the grapevine. But in this case, this grapevine's pretty loosely put together, so it was easy to get the chenille stem in between. Now we won't leave the back of the wreath looking like this. Once I'm done with the wreath, I'll go back and snip these off and then stick that little point down back into the grapevine wreath. That way there's nothing on the back of the wreath that's going to scratch someone's door or scratch someone's wall. All right, we're just going to maneuver these loops and put them where we want them. If you've purchased really good ribbon, and make sure you're using wired ribbon for wreath making, you can tug and pull and manipulate the ribbon fairly easily. So don't be afraid to, give it a little tug here, tug there, and put those loops exactly where you want them so that you get the biggest bang for your buck on the ribbon that you've purchased. All right, now I'm just moving those tails around. And this bow, for some reason, was a little cantankerous, so I had to do a lot of zhuzhing and pulling and pushing. I'm still kind of new at bow making, but I'm slowly grasping it. The final product that you'll see here in a few seconds turned out pretty good. All right, I'm going to curl up the ends. I like to give different textures to a bow, so sometimes I'll curl them up and then kind of pull them down so that it looks a little different, or curl them up into little curly cues like that. This purple and white argyle, it's going to curl up really well here in a second. So again, just shifting those ribbons around. And part of this here is I'm a little nervous. This is my first video that I've recorded and then done a voiceover on. So I'm taking a lot longer with this bow than I normally would. But see how that ribbon really works well with curling up and kind of pulling out and making a different style of a little curly cue. It just adds different textures. Eventually I'm going to take this aquamarine and just dovetail it because it did not want to make pretty curls. So I'm going to dovetail these 2.5 inch ribbons. Sometimes you can do curls and do different things with 2.5 inch ribbon, but none of these are stiff enough to really curl up well. So doing dovetails, you just want to fold it in half and then cut up towards the sky. That makes a really pretty dovetail. And the tip of your scissors should reach the tip of that fold. That way all your dovetails are even. I was just shaking out where I cut some of those dovetails that were stuck in the wreath. All right, we're going to start with our florals. And these florals came from Michael's. I'm looking here to see if this bush has a name, but it just said summer bush. So these actual florals didn't have a name. I'm not an expert at florals yet. I'm definitely not an expert at flowers. So these flowers probably have a name, and you probably know the name of them. I do not. I'm pushing up the leaves on the florals so that they're not so far down. And then once I do that, I'm going to use my snips. Well, first I'm going to put that flower back on that stem, and then I'm just going to start breaking up these florals. You don't have to use florals in a bunch just because they come in a bunch. You can easily snip them off, break them up. You know, sometimes depending on the branch or the floral, it may come in like 3 sections. You can separate those 3 sections and then put each section in a different part of your project. This particular project, or this particular bunch of florals, they're all separate stems. So that's why I'm cutting each one separate, putting some hot glue on the end of that stem. And I'm actually going to place all of these florals into the grapevine. I'm not gluing the florals to the ribbon. You always want your florals either attached to the grapevine, or if it's a mesh wreath, attached to your ties. It's never a good idea to glue things into ribbon or mesh, because that hot glue could actually melt the ribbon or melt the mesh, and your florals could end up falling out over time. Plus, you don't want your customer to look at your project or look at their beautiful creation that they've bought, and then all of a sudden there are holes in the ribbon or holes in the mesh, or from where the hot glue burned a hole in it. I'm just placing these florals kind of in a star pattern. I'm going to go in each of the corners and place the florals. You kind of want to work in, from what I understand, you want to work in triangles when it comes to florals, or diagonals, or all the way around, I guess, if you wanted to go in a complete circular motion. Okay, now that we have most of our white flowers around where we want them, we're going to add these little bits of lavender. So this is actually leftover pieces from another project that I had, and I just think they add a little whimsy to the wreath. So we're going to hot glue them here onto our grapevine, and I'm just going to scatter them around evenly in the four corners. Okay, we got our lavender added. Now I found these beautiful purple flowers at Michael's. Maybe they're daylilies. I'm not really sure exactly what they are. I guess I need to start setting up on my florals. But now we're going to add some of these throughout the design. I think they coordinate really well with the pink and white gingham. They pull out the purple in that beautiful floral ribbon, and looks like I'm struggling a little bit to get it into the grapevine part, but we'll have some success here in a second. All right, and then I'm just gonna carry or continue putting these throughout the wreath. Okay, we're done. We finished putting all of our florals in. If you like this wreath, you can go to www.JNorrellCreations.com and purchase it. Thank y'all.